and that's another important lesson as well. There's going to be so many important lessons in this podcast for people who are listening, right? About the process and about what, like, what kind of person you either need to be or need to become to get the results that you want to see. And so, like, number one is that you're talking about the open mindedness, and then reconciling the difference between not liking routine but needing to get routine. So that's
Yeah.
super important. And then, yeah, what you just said there as well is trusting the process, because it's like, okay, here's somebody who can guide me through that. And if I just do as is and make it my own, it's going to happen. And even though, like, sometimes people are different as well. Some people can start seeing results after a week. Some people might take 3 4 weeks,
Yeah.
and you just have to believe in that process, and you just got to keep going. And that's important, because the number of times, like, somebody can come into it, and there's a bit of, like, resistance. It's not like resistance with the coach or necessarily. It's like there's resistance with the process. It's like you're used to doing things in a certain way. So there can be people who, for example, like, they love routine, but then adding fitness into it, or adding, basically having to think about what they're eating, what they're drinking, what their exercise routine is like, and getting the right amount of sleep, and managing all these different things, is it can be overwhelming. But then also there's a bit of resistance to it as well, because it's just like, oh well, I want to stick with what I know. But at the same time, you got to have to you have to realize that what you already know isn't working so well for you. You need to do something differently, and the only way you're going to get results is to do something differently and do it consistently. And so what you said there is, I think it's, like, super valuable.
Yeah, and it's also kind of stepping outside of your comfort zone. And I think some
Mm,
people might not feel that's an easy thing to do, because it's not really an easy thing to do, especially if you do like routine, if stepping outside into that kind of unknown, pushing your body. It's like it's not just a physical thing; it's a mental thing as well. And I feel like a
totally.
lot of the times, it's I have to sort of change the self-talk in my head to sort of say, no, no,
Mm,
I've just got to keep going. My body's gonna, be
mm,
able to survive, but it's my head that wants to give up first. So,
mm,
so there's a lot of kind of there's a lot of things going on, so I can kind of understand why people are kind of quite maybe not reluctant, but kind of a bit fearful in some ways to step
mm,
out into that new fitness journey. And so I think open-mindedness is definitely something, yeah,
mm,
that you need, yeah. But also,
mm,
like as you've said before in previous podcasts, attach like a goal and a meaning to what you're doing. And that's how I
mm.
got my name, Howard Brown.
Yeah, I was literally gonna say, I was like, if you didn't bring it up, I was like, this is where Power Brown comes from. I know it, right?
Exactly, you inspired it.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, it's like, so. Yeah, explain that a little bit more.
So, so actually, it goes back to one of your earlier podcasts. So, I was one of the listeners with some questions in your earlier podcast. So, I think one of my questions was about mental blocks, and so you guys answered it on an earlier podcast about. My question was about a mental block and how to overcome that mental block, and so going to kind of advised on kind of attaching some sort of meaning or like a sort of a goal to motivate you while you're doing whatever you need to do to overcome that mental block. And I remember then you asked Uma about his advice, and so Uma was like Home Alone, and so it was just like what? It's just
I
brilliant.
remember that.
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Do you
that
remember
was
that,
so
Uma?
funny.
I don't remember that. tell me,
You're gonna
tell
have
me
to
about
you're gonna
what
have to
my
refresh his
point.
memory for you.
So basically, it was just it's just kind of I think you mentioned about the guy in Home Alone, the old guy.
Yeah.
I
Oh
think
yeah,
it's
the
Home
scary
Alone
guy.
one.
Yeah, the scary guy with
Scary
the
guy.
shovel. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And then Kevin McAllister, just basically faces this guy, faces his fear head on, screams in his face, and then he's just like, "Yeah, this is great. I can do it."
Amazing.
different
And so
tactical approach there.
Yeah.
definitely, it clearly works because
Oh
I kind
yeah.
of used all of that. So and so yeah, so I used a kind of a motivating word to help me kind of overcome my mental blocks on running. And then just kind of just getting me through like exercises. So I was thinking, like power is a word that I um, can use to motivate me, because it just encapsulates so much. It's about strength, it's about ambition, it's about drive. So that's the kind of word that I use when I'm in need of kind of just driving forward with an exercise, for example, running or like my rowing machine or something. So so Power Brown. And then I wanted to join the Brown Club because it's quite exclusive, right?
Right, I love that.
Exactly. This was like
So I'm super excited.
triple threat Brown.
Yeah, this is great. Honorary member of the Brown Club. Let's go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't just get in on the color of your skin. That's not how this works.
You got to represent.
Legit,
exactly.
legit that you have to achieve.
Exactly. That's quality. That's so good. So it's like so you've used it to great effect. I'm guessing is like every time you felt like, okay, I'm hitting a block now. I really don't want to do this, and then you just went power, and then all of a sudden your posture goes up, your brain just goes, let's do this.
I love that.
Exactly. It's just a reminder, isn't it, of kind of, what, I'm doing this for a reason. I'm doing this to become more powerful, stronger, more driven, ambitious. Let's do this, and then
Yeah.
I love that. I find that you do the same thing with the word strong, right? You say it a few times.
That's right.
Yeah. I've noticed that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I was doing I was doing that today. I was like, just got to work out in the morning, and again, just getting to that stage where it's getting difficult, and I just in my head I went strong, and I just got like a dopamine hit, and I just carried on pushing through a little bit more, and I was like, okay, it doesn't matter. It's not going to get any worse. It's only going to get better because of the outcome that it produces. So so that's pretty epic, and like with and that's something that I advise people all the time as well, especially if like exercise is a new routine as well, or just basically any of this is kind of new, really. Even if you have exercise in your routine, but then doing it a way where it's more structured and it's more geared towards you getting where you need to get to. And you got to always be able to keep that in mind. And so if there's something that encapsulates what it ultimately means to you, it just makes it so much easier. It's like, it's not even like you're tapping into motivation, you're just tapping into inspiration. There's a well of inspiration, but motivation is so finite. So that's incredible. And like then you notice your baseline just improve each time, right? So say it's like, okay, I'm going in the sense that you are using that phrase to help see you through, but then I don't know about you, but if tell me your experience with this. I don't have to say strong as often now. I don't have to remind myself of it as much because my baseline habit has improved so much over time, where I just do the activity, and then every now and then I need a little reminder. And I don't know, what is it like for you?
Yeah, to be honest, I think you're right. I didn't realize that, but I don't say it as much now. And I think it's almost like I just step into that mindset sooner, and I don't even have to say the word. It's almost like you kind of just step into that, the mindset, and you kind of just think, I'm just going to do this. I've done it before. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to carry on. And so yeah, you're right. I didn't notice really, but yeah, I don't say it as much.
Yeah, interesting.
Ties into that phrase from what's the guy called? Paul Check. He's like, do the thing to have the power.
That's it.
I love that phrase where it's like, so now you've been doing the act of powerful. Now you are powerful. So that now it's a done deal already. You don't need to kind of re-up. Now you've been trying to mold the glove to fit. Now the glove's just on your hand. It's time to go.
That's right, man.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, that in itself is actually really powerful to just hear that.
Yeah, you are Power Brown. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's do this.
The embodiment. It's true. It's like, dude, like the first time you said that, like one of the early podcasts as well, do the thing and have the power. I was like, it's just, there's no other way around it except for taking action, right? You can't, like, you can think about it all day, but that doesn't actually do anything. It's like, it's the doing bit that gets you that power, gets you where you want to be. So I've always loved that one since you brought it up, man.